So you've been playing Tony Hawk?
Yep. Yes, I have.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
I think it's awesome. I think Tony Hawk, after playing this game for a little bit, I've already completed the first park, as you could say. The first location. Did all the
warehouse?
goals.
Is that what it is? Yeah, dude, I love that. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I did the warehouse. Boy, oh boy, I forgot how hard it is to try to complete 100,000 points in that little place. In that little warehouse.
Or
it was
playing,
tough.
having to get the skate letters.
Yep.
I remember playing, I forgot which one it was. I think it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. That you could play as Spider-Man? Or was that Tony Hawk 3? And then one of them you can play as Wolverine. I remember. Welcome to the CableTime podcast, episode 2. Today I have with me Andrew Talamantes. Andrew has been a lifelong friend of mine and has been a frequent member of my family, coming over constantly throughout my my lifetime. And he's a dear friend, and thank you, Andrew, for coming today.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. Now we're just talking about Tony Hawk. I have not bought it yet. I'm thinking about buying it on PC, but I don't know.
I pre-ordered it.
I haven't.
I got the tech deck in with it.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. Nice.
Man. I don't know. What have I been playing? I haven't, I told you I played Ghost of Tsushima on my PlayStation. I gotta start this game called Death Stranding that's also on the PlayStation. I haven't beaten the new Spider-Man game yet. There's a lot of games I haven't played on my PlayStation. It's pretty much my backlog's on my PC and my PlayStation.
I don't play a lot of games. I usually just stick to one game and I play it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd say that's a pretty good way of playing video games. It keeps you from, I don't know, spending too much money on games. Maybe I don't know.
That's
Some
why I
people
like
buy
Skyrim.
too many games. Yeah.
That's why I love
a lot
Skyrim.
of replayability. I've never played it. I played Oblivion. I never played Skyrim.
You played all of Oblivion?
I got like through 3/4 of the game, and I was like about to head the last area, and then I don't know. I just stopped playing, and then I borrowed it from my friend Randy, and I remember I stopped playing, and after a while he asked for me back, and I just gave it back to him. I never finished playing the game.
So what did
I
you
should have.
think?
I liked it. It was confusing at first, and I found myself, the more I played it, the more I actually wanted to play Fallout, and I think that's just more that's my style of game. They're pretty similar, the RPG aspect of them. I love the story of Fallout, though, the nuclear wasteland. I like it more than the fantasy aspect, I think, of any of the Elder Scrolls series. To each their own. I'm more of a gun guy, I guess. That's just what it comes down to. And though I did like Ghost of Tsushima. So, let's see.
Yeah, you gotta like hack and slash to enjoy Skyrim.
I would say that for sure. I think the combat is definitely. Was it more of like a brutish combat? Can you just pretty much just walk into every fight just with your sword and just go to town and just go battle to battle, or is it you have to battle certain enemies in specific ways? Because I've never played it, so.
Well, wherever you walk, sometimes there are battles already going on. You can jump in if you want, or the enemies will see you and just attack you for no reason, just because you happen to be there. And a lot of times that's pretty much the way it is. You walk through the forest and you come across giant spiders, you come across wolves,
Mm-hmm.
you come across trolls. Trolls are really tough. When they attack you, they suck your life.
Yeah.
Since each time they hit you, they're sucking your life essence, and when you attack them, they have the ability to regenerate. So they're tough. And then you got giants. Giants are pretty crazy.
I remember one of the funniest things I think about playing Oblivion was randomly walking around when like you would run into random like events like that or random enemies, but at the same time like somebody would appear trying to rob you. And so the person just gets destroyed by whatever's trying to kill you.
It doesn't matter what point you are in the game. You could be level 1, you could be level 50, having already defeated Alduin, already gotten so much power. You've gotten so powerful by that point, and it doesn't matter. Some idiot will come up to you with a little knife and threaten you for your
Give
gold.
me all your money. Give me all your gold right now. You're just like wearing the most powerful armor.
Yeah,
dude's got the most powerful sword in his hand.
You
just like
ride around on a horse that's looks like a ghost, and you have a big ass sword. It doesn't matter.
You've always liked video games? I mean, I know that you don't play as many now, but have you always, like, since childhood, was that something that you liked when you were younger too?
Pretty much. I was really into Nintendo 64 back in the day, so I played a lot of GoldenEye, a lot of Smash Brothers, Mario 64. Even before that, played on Super Nintendo. But before that, though, I think I was more outside. I was a lot more outside, riding my bike and playing basketball with my friends outside. And then when when Nintendo 64 came out, it was like
that was like the turnaround.
It was a big turnaround. I can still remember when back in the day when it was Nintendo 64 versus the first Xbox. I can still remember those days when it was like, wow, Nintendo 64 lasted a while, and then Xbox came out, and Nintendo 64 was still relevant next to the Xbox.
I do remember that. I remember when the Xbox and the PS2 came out. I've been playing video games since I was, I think, about 3 or 4 years old. I remember playing things like Doom and Quake on my parents' PC. So I remember playing PC games at a young age, and I was using a computer. I've always pretty much, my dad, he's the one who pretty much got me involved in video games and technology. From watching him play is pretty much how I ended up liking them, I guess, or at least pursuing things of that nature.
For those listening to this, it is a common sight to walk in this house and see Mr. Scroy on the TV playing Swit.
Yeah, my dad's he likes video games. Not like, definitely not, I think, as much as me or my brother or some of my friends, but my dad he's a video gamer. I said that in my first YouTube video. So, growing up, you were more outside. Did you always grow up in...
Yeah, I've always been in California. But coming out of California, I was 18. I was 18, and I decided to join the Navy, so
what
took off.
What pushed you to that decision? If it's not too much information.
I needed a break from my family. Definitely needed a break from my family. I wanted to get away for a while, and yeah, came back and realized how much I missed the West Coast and why I liked it out here better.
So you wanted to take a break from life at home. Well, I think a lot of us, especially when you get to that age. When I graduated at 17, and I remember I was apprehensive for leaving because I went to Bible college. I was really apprehensive. I'd never really been on my own before. And it was the first time I moved out of my house and into a new adventure by myself. And it was really rough. I remember my first couple nights away from home. It was pretty lonely. I didn't say I mean, I knew I was forced to know people that I was with because when I went, I had roommates. But I wasn't really. I wouldn't say I had like a whole lot of friends. I did have my friend Randy. He was going to Bible college at the exact same time, but he did have his own group of people he was around. So I couldn't really depend on him 100% to, facilitate my, I guess my needs, I would say. It sounds
Sounds.
I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to say that I was needy either. It was just I respected what he was doing, and I wasn't going to force myself into his circle. And I found my way around. I made up my own groups of friends, and I made some good friends. I made some okay friends. I made some friends I'm not friends with anymore. I mean, it's just how learning how to do things on your own. It's a very interesting experience, and I didn't think I was ready for it. I felt like everything just came so fast, and I felt like I had to grow up so quickly. And I felt like I haven't been completely on my own since I graduated, but I felt like since I graduated, I had been taking steps every year towards being more and more independent. And as you take those steps, you begin to taste like what freedom tastes like, and you start realizing, like, 'cause even though things are hard, you start able to, hey, I can go out and go do this and nobody's around to tell me I can't, or I can make this for dinner because I'm the only one, or me and my girlfriend or my wife are the only ones that are eating, and nobody else can tell me because we both like it, and we're gonna watch this and we're gonna do this and I'm gonna stay up this late, and it's amazing. You start feeling that freedom, and you start realizing, man, like, I really like this. So I remember coming back from Bible college and moving back home was a very interesting experience, just getting back used to living here. Even though it wasn't like I was completely, by myself when I was over there, as you weren't when you were in the Navy. I've seen those bunks that you have to sleep in, dude. Those little tiny packing use like sardines on those ships.
If you don't like people, you better learn.
What was I mean? That's what I would say it was like for me being on my own at first. It was a very crazy experience. I remember just weird things. I mean, what about you? What were some things that you think you experienced while you were, over there across the ways and in the Navy?
Fog. Never seen so much fog in my life. Ugh. But I mean, the further south you go in California, it does get foggy. But the weather, generally the weather. Oh, I hate the weather out there so much. It is so sticky and muggy and just disgusting.
That's the only thing I can think. Man, it's like it's been hot this week. It's been in the hundreds, and I mean, it's definitely not as bad as some places. Like I saw in Arizona the other day. I think it was yesterday. It was 120 somewhere. That's insane.
I know what that feels like.
I think it gets to a point where it's hot, but like places like Arizona are just it's dry. And you talk about places like you're talking about Virginia, right? And like those areas over in Mississippi. And I experienced that when I went to Florida, and you just walk outside and your t-shirt's just soaked, from just the humidity, and you're already sweating even though you just took a shower.
Showers are useless in the East Coast.
Because you walk outside and it's immediately you're just drenched. You're better off wearing an undershirt. It's nasty. Interesting. I've seen a lot of. I haven't been all over the United States. I've been to Florida. I've been to Washington D.C. and a few areas around there for school trips. And I lived in. Up to 4 years ago, I moved to Washington, and recently I'm back down in Los Angeles. And I don't know, man. I just, like I said, I've told you a lot. I've told everybody before. It's just I can't see myself living here anymore. I've said it a lot. It's like a broken record, and I really cannot see myself staying in Los Angeles. It's
so much green in Washington.
Well, it's just so. Is it weird to say peaceful, even though like I know crazy stuff goes on in Seattle, but like it just seems more peaceful, more wide open. Like you got room to breathe, and there's not people while you're taking a poop in your bathroom next door, right next to your window, next to their bathroom.
It hits you differently when you're driving around out there and you see so much open country. As a city boy,
I really think it lets you see how big the world is. I mean, I didn't get to see as much as you did. How many? When you were in the how long were you in the Navy?
4 years.
So in the 4 years that you were in the Navy, How many different places did you go besides the United States? I mean, how many? It must have been a long time. I
I've
mean,
been to Virginia, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and then I've been out of country a lot. The Middle East, Panama, Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas in particular.
yeah, you got off the ship there.
Yeah, we did.
I've never been there.
It's different. It's nice. It's very nice. Very people are really cool. Everybody just, like anywhere else, other I don't know if you'd call it a third world country. I wouldn't call it that. I would just call it very in my opinion, it's almost an extension of Watts. You drive through Watts, and Watts sometimes looks run down in some places, and the Bahamas and most of it looks real run down, but rather than so many mean people and mean mugging everywhere they go, and I don't know how to explain that.
Well, like, you probably
people,
keep
it's different. Bahamas, everybody's either drunk, everybody's either high on weed or something, but people are nice.
Mm-hmm.
People are really nice. I can remember hitting the Bahamas, and I hit the town, walking around. I must have stopped in maybe between 15 to 20 different shops where shops were giving out free shots of rum. And I stopped at each one because I wanted to try all that rum.
Oh, man.
It was crazy.
Damn.
It was crazy. I was so happy, and then I stopped at the I guess you could say the club later that night, but it's all open, so the water's all right there, and then
It's like a cabana or something.
yeah, it was kind of, the view was kind of blocked too because of the ship, the cruise ship that was there. We pulled in next to a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so the view was kind of blocked, but it was nice. People were nice, but I also saw some ratchet shit when I was there. Some of those cruise ship people, man, they party hard,
yeah.
and they did some weird things.
Oh, dude, I remember.
I won't even say things I saw. It was just weird. It was just weird.
I think it's better left to the
better
the
left
imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, why you gotta put metal pictures in my head? Why you gotta do that? Now I feel violated.
Well, the cool thing I did get to do also, even after all the shots I had that day, was I got to walk around the club in like a line, and maybe 5 different guys throughout the line, and they had these bottles with like these squirt nipples on the bottle.
Yeah.
Of bottles of rum or vodka or whatever, and they were just giving people shots.
Jeez.
Shots. The next person shot.
Dude, what the heck? I've never been. Dude, I'm 20.
It's like you're dancing. You're in the line. You're either drunk or whatever, or you're not sober, but everybody's up, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's
drinking.
Everybody's drinking.
Everybody's drinking.
Every couple spaces, there's another guy shot. Shot. I must have ran around that thing maybe 6 times.
I've never. So I'm 26, and since I've been of legal drinking age, I've never been anywhere like that. I've never been to a club. I've never been to parties like that. I've never been on
partying.
I've never even been on vacation. I've never even been on vacation over 21 ever. It's been a very. You know what's crazy, dude? Tomorrow is my anniversary. I've been married 7 years tomorrow.
Busy man.
I've had a lot going on in 7 years, and not in 7 years have I gone somewhere where I've been able to go see. I don't know. I want to see more of the world. I think that's my biggest thing, is that when I left California, like I said, you realize how big the world is outside, and I know that Washington's only like another state. Like that's so like.
Well,
to confine me to one place, but it's more of just like,
it's still a culture shock.
Yeah.
It's still a culture shock. You see cloudy skies every day.
Yeah.
So much rain, so much green.
How about things like this? Like something you're not used to is snow.
Exactly.
In the winter. I remember my first Christmas I spent outside of my family. I went to Spokane. And I actually went there to ask for Jordan's hand in marriage. I proposed to her while I was up there. And I remember while I was there, it snowed. And it was the first time that I had a white Christmas before. And there's something just, I don't know, call it, I guess, nostalgic, even though I've never had a white Christmas, but it was just so crazy. And it was just so, like, felt just so right. And I remember seeing the snow and just seeing outside at night with this, just during that winter night and seeing all the stars and just remembering it's not like this back where I come from. You know, I got smog because of all the freaking cars here. I got pollution. You go to certain parts of downtown, there's, needles everywhere and crazy homeless people.
In an area like that where there's less pollution,
you breathe that.
You're going to be doing things like math. You're gonna know all kinds of sciences. Dude. You're gonna learn all kinds of shit.
Dude, you step off. You start. I remember talking to Jordan, and when I proposed to her, I had to fly back, and she was like, "Don't go back. Stay here." And I considered it. I almost was like, "I'm not gonna go home." I almost didn't go home. I almost let my plane go. I was gonna find a job immediately, and I wanted to stay. That's how like captivating it was to me.
Your parents must have really liked you.
That's like her family loved me. It was, I don't think I had any problems. Nobody was worried because they all see I was an honest person. I cared about Jordan, and I think that's the most important thing is, I think when people really care about their children, they really do look out for the best in that for them. So they want the best, somebody who's obviously going to take care of them. And I think that's what they saw. I was genuine. I really did care about Jordan. And it was the first time meeting most of her family. And it was crazy just going there. And, it was only my second time actually going there. I'd been there once before, like 5 months prior. And it was only my second time being there and seeing everybody. And it was the second time meeting her dad even. And I remember telling him, asking for his blessing for his daughter. And I remember it was just crazy. Everything just worked out. It was nice. And after that, it just solidified what I desired for. I think that was what pushed me for another push into why I didn't want to live in California. I feel it's very expensive here to have a family. I have 3 kids. And say I was going to go look for a house right now. You think I'd be able to find one in my price range?
You could do a 2-bedroom. That's
apartment?
The other way.
Apartment?
House.
No, dude, apartment. My dad was telling me since he works in Los Angeles, and he was telling me that in downtown in places like Compton, South Central, apartment units with like bullet holes in them and the walls and stuff like that cost around $1,500 to $1,700 for 2-bedroom in those areas. That's not some living conditions I want for my family. I grew up in East Los Angeles, and I remember it wasn't a horrible neighborhood. I do remember somebody getting shot on my corner. I remember there were some probably questionable people that lived in my area, but
that's anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean that was just growing up in Los Angeles, and we weren't super rich, and we saw the less privileged side of things. But you know what my family proved and my dad proved is you work hard and you work your way up. I mean, we don't live too far from where we used to live, and it's just, I think it comes down to doing the best that you can as a parent, and I know what I can do, and I'm in a position where I am able to make a decision to not have to stay here. I mean, I'm only here for temporary, and I plan on going back to Washington, but I've had a lot of people ask me, do I plan on moving back to Los Angeles? And I just straight up, no. And nobody ever faults me for that. And mainly the reasons people want me to stay is because, they want to see my kids and they want to see me. They miss me. It's family reasons. That's actually one of the reasons why I love coming here. It's family. My family's here. I love my family. I've had a really close relationship, not just with my immediate family, my cousins, aunts and uncles. I've had a really good relationship with a lot of people, and I have a lot of people I've grown up with that we consider family as friends. You're one of them. I've known you for a really long time, plus 10 years. That's a long time to know somebody. That's a friendship that lasts longer than most normal friendships. You just start learning, what really matters to you, and those are the things that matter. I love my family. That's why I come back. It's also one of the reasons why I want to leave, because I have a new family. I don't want my kids to grow up here. I think things are too crazy here. It's getting too expensive. What if I stay here and it locks my family in this eternal struggle of trying to escape Los Angeles? That's not what I want to do. You can I tell a lot of people this, you can buy a house in, parts of Washington that for the same price of that 2-bedroom in Compton, you're paying for a 3-4 bedroom house in Washington. Maybe on acreage sometimes. So it really puts into perspective how far your money goes in other places. Wouldn't you say?
One thing I always wanted was to build my own paintball arena.
Well, you could buy land.
Awesome place.
You could buy land to do it.
It'd be an awesome place to do that.
Yeah. That would be sick.
Set up the nets and have a nice and just a netted enclosed area. Set up all your bunkers and rubber bunkers or whatever and go to town.
This is probably just a silly, I guess, kid question. What did you want to do when you were younger?
I wanted to be a paleontologist, only because of Jurassic Park. Ever since I saw the first Jurassic Park, from that day forward, I wanted to be a paleontologist. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, to find dinosaurs. Yep, that was it.
And then you watch farther along in the movie, and your hopes of becoming a paleontologist slowly start coming to realization of, if anything of this movie was possible, we're dead. Because we are not equipped to take on dinosaurs.
Yep. That is a fact.
When you were in the East Coast, I'm sure you drove around places. Is there a lot of traffic over there?
Not really. I mean, there's traffic in Virginia, but it's packed now because a lot of the people from New York are moving to Virginia.
Yeah, dude. There's like mass exodus happening from a lot of the cities right
Norfolk, now. VA is getting.
I'm hearing a lot of like places like North and South Carolina, Ohio.
I would want to go back though, because one thing I never did. I never tried to explore the areas of the Civil War.
Oh, dude, that would be like
love to go explore where the battles happened.
I have like a huge I love American history.
I would love to go see the house that George Washington retired.
Mount Vernon. I saw that house. I went there. It was one of the coolest places I think we went. It's like I don't know. It's I know it's frowned upon, but to me, I love seeing. It fills me with great pride as an American.
Yeah.
And
to see where our founding fathers walked.
Yeah,
that'd give you goosebumps, man.
Yeah, dude, it's because we're walking in the footsteps of American heroes. We are the exact same as our forefathers. The men who fought for this country. Anybody who takes pride in their nation, in this nation, and not just. And I don't mean pride in being an American, but that also means by standing for the virtues of being an American, and that goes for standing for the unjust and standing for the voiceless and being a true patriot of freedom. That's all those things encompass. And I think it's kind of like it's funny how this country works. There's a lot of division, I think, now. But I think what's interesting is that there's always going to be somebody who stands for the American virtues. It's kind of like a contingency. It's like bred in the lives and the blood of the people born in this nation. The things like the First and Second Amendment to the Constitution. Those are the Bill of Rights. Those are things that...
Like my favorite comedian says, the First Amendment is first for a reason. And second is just in case the first doesn't work out. It's per Dave Chappelle.
Those amendments are like contingency, like plans put into the heads of all men who were born in this country and all people who become legal citizens of this nation, to show that you have something to fight for, and shows there's something worth caring about, and shows how important things are, because there are countries that don't have those things as priorities. The ability to speak up for yourself and defend yourself with your word, and the ability is to physically be able to protect your life. Those are things that are questionable in other areas of the world. And I'm fortunate enough to live in this nation.
Oh yeah.
And that's like,
it's because of those men we're free. Hey, just can't, you can't thank them enough for writing the Declaration.
Yeah. I was reading, I think it was John Hancock. If not, I'll put it in post right here. One of the youngest signer of the Declaration of Independence was 25 years old. 25.
A kid.
It wasn't all just old 70-year-old white men. It was a kid. To them, to the experience that these men had. That's these people knew what was important, and I think it's very important we also, as people of this nation, not forget what's important in this country. I think that's a very important thing that a lot of places are forgetting, and it's being made easier to forget in places like the cities. It's one of the things that does scare me to have to if I was to choose to live in the city. What do I gain? Let me ask you. What do you think I gain as a family of 5 to live in Los Angeles? Where do I contribute? What do I get out of it? Or how can I prosper?
I mean, be honest, man. Unless we get a new governor that is going to change things, that cares more about people's rights and cares more about the beauty that California once was, I can't see it getting any better.
Do you think the people have a lot to contribute to that too, though?
Yes.
Well, how do you... I know that it's as simple as people saying, oh, you just convince them through voicing your opinions. It's a very hard time to, I think, to voice opinions. I mean, look at just now, the current state of how politicized everything over the last couple months are. Even this, right now, what we're doing. It's not to get too deep into it, but more so just state that I think people have a lot to do with the decisions that need to be made and to make things work correctly, like making the city of Los Angeles work correctly for the people. Obviously, cities were made to be the creme de la creme of human society, or at least a pinpoint location of civilization to set the precedent for the future. I see civilizations or cities as something to bring man together to build or to make things greater. And you kind of look at these cities that have become so great. Los Angeles produced what? The movie industry. You have New York that produced a lot of the business industry and the stock industry over in New York. You have Miami that produced the resort industry, in Vegas. Those cities all did something with the collective that came together to produce them. And what do they do now for society? I think that's just an honest question we have to ask ourselves, is how are cities now contributing to society? And do they contribute, or are we more like little chess pieces to keep their economy going and their cities to keep running, kind of like a Disneyland? Like Disneyland can't function without people going to the attractions. The city can't work correctly if people aren't living here. I think that's the situation New York's about to get into.
I believe that people need to have an understanding of what capitalism is. A serious understanding. These people who are disagreeable, men and women, need to sit in a classroom and have somebody teach them what capitalism really is. Because, I was just thinking about this the other day. I saw a picture about that showed, our beloved street vendors in Los Angeles. Those people are beloved.
Oh yeah, dude.
I don't care
man
what
the ice cream
nationality
guy.
you are. If you don't love your street vendors, you're the problem, not them.
Dude,
that is capitalism. No matter how you look at it, that is capitalism. Why?
Oh yeah.
Because they get their product from God knows where, and they get out there and they sell. And some of these street vendors are making their tuitions for their kids to go to college. They're busting their butts. God only knows how they're surviving.
In this economy, dude,
are they putting all that money into their kids' tuition? What are they eating with? Like, seriously, what money are they eating with to keep them healthy? I mean, that's a lot of money. Like, one of the stories I read about a man who paid for his daughter's tuition just selling ice cream. How did he survive? How much of that money went to his daughter's tuition?
He worked hard.
That's crazy.
I think we got really confused at what's important for our young men and women to see what's important.
People want to get rid of capitalism in this country. Think about what you're doing.
Well, their argument would be, well, he wouldn't have to do that because a socialistic society would pay for that college.
See, but that's the thing, though. If a socialist society is going to pay for everything, then we don't get the cream of the crop of what we want. Because just like anywhere else, there are good doctors and there are bad doctors.
Yeah.
If you want a really good doctor, you're going to pay the money to go see a really good doctor.
I think it's more of how it currently is if you want a really good doctor, you have really good insurance.
Yeah, but
you are able to do that.
Still, you have insurance.
You as the average person are able to do that. Even if it's expensive, right now,
but still,
you can do that as the average person in this country.
Somebody's got to pay that doctor.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to do all that work for free. That's a lot of knowledge that he went to school for. You better pay him.
They love the man, dude. That guy.
We love those guys.
That guy is actually one of the things that I mean, it's all encompassing thing I love about Los Angeles, but it's the food and the culture.
I think if I moved, that would be one of the things I'm gonna really miss, and I'll probably get real sentimental.
You'd start
because if I don't hear the honk 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 honk,
that's not around. That doesn't happen. You're right. Those don't exist in other communities.
I have never seen. Besides Los Angeles, besides California, I have never seen that anywhere else.
Andrew, I think you just found your calling to move to a predominantly white neighborhood in Washington and become the Elote man. You'll become a millionaire overnight, dude.
Oh, man.
Become a millionaire overnight, instantly. You work your way up to an ice cream truck, and then you start a fleet of ice cream trucks.
I don't think I would mind.
I think honestly it would probably make it. If you made I kid you not, I went to this taco place in Washington, and for 3 tacos I paid $20.
That's insane. 3 tacos?
3 tacos.
And a drink.
And a margarita. The margarita was $8.
Probably be more than
it was $8. The margarita was $8.
Okay. But man, oof.
That was They were good tacos. They weren't the best. My best tacos I've had were in TJ, dude. Not in.
Oh yeah.
Not in freaking Washington. My favorite tacos, hands down, are across the border. That is a given. I do not like the way they make. Even like when I go to places here, I don't like soggy tortillas. My favorite thing is when they stick them on the grill with the grease, and they warm them that way. I hate just getting a dry tortilla. I don't. Ugh, it's like. Anyways, I think food in Los Angeles is definitely there's no comparison to me, because in Washington there ain't nothing over there. My favorite place to go here is a toss up between the Hat and In-N-Out, and I definitely like In-N-Out a lot more because it's a lot easier to find, because they don't have the Hat has things that In-N-Out doesn't. But if an In-N-Out made chili cheese fries and chili cheeseburgers and DUI things from gyms,
why In-N-Out is the best is because. I mean, the basic burger, the double is one of the most timeless pieces of our history.
Oh, dude,
that will
the California burger. I think
away.
Carl's Jr. tried doing their own rendition of the double. I never tried it. I never tried it.
I've had it.
Was it gross? That was like what people they try to say. That's a California burger. I'm like, get the hell out of here. That is not a double. That's not my grilled onions. There ain't no chopped chilies in that. I can't get my Flying Dutchman. It's not the same. And everybody tries to tell me. I remember there was a debate between whether In-N-Out or Whataburger. Do you know what Whataburger is?
I've heard of Whataburger.
Whataburger is kind of like a southern, from Arizona. It's along the southern stretch of the United States. I think it's a franchise. It goes from Arizona, Texas, and a few other southern states.
They try to do it with Five Guys.
Oh yeah, and then I've had Five Guys. I've had Five Guys. I've had Whataburger. I've had the Habit. I think the Habit's probably the closest I would say to like where I would rank next after In-N-Out. But as far as like, because those are the only kind of burger joints I can go to outside of Los Angeles. But the California area, and maybe, I know Nevada, maybe, I don't know if there's a location in Arizona. I know there's Oregon, there's In-N-Out. But there are no In-N-Outs in Washington. It is very, it's the first thing I get once I cross state lines. If I fly in and I get picked up from the airport, the first thing I do is, Mom, In-N-Out. That's where we're going. This is the first thing I get every time.
You know what? Too. You know, a lot of the times, that's how families feed. That's how people feed their families. The tamale lady.
Oh yeah.
The elote man coming down.
Dude, I remember there was
horns. That's how families get fed in this city.
There used to
Honestly,
be.
That's how we survive.
In East LA, there was like a truck with a canopy that would come by early in the morning, like 6 in the morning, with coffee on the drip and fresh donuts, selling them out of the back of the car at like 5 in the morning every morning before people come to work. Yeah, dude, this was back when I was a kid on my street in East LA. I remember that was something that the guy would just go up and down streets for breakfast in the morning, just selling donuts and coffee. I mean, he literally was bringing the stuff to people. Before Uber, before any of that existed, this dude was coming out in his car selling this. I remember that. I bought donuts and coffee from this guy. Me and my dad went out before. Like, that's something I remember, dude.
Wow.
I remember there used to be a truck that would come by, I think on like Thursdays, that would sell, there would be a car that would come by that would sell tamales. There would be a car that would come by that would sell pan dulce, fresh. When I say fresh, I mean like they went from the bakery, loaded it in that truck, and got it out on the streets, dude. Like, that stuff was still hot.
That's amazing.
I even knew of, in Washington, this is the only closest thing I have. I remember working because I used to work in housing developments when I was working for an electrical contractor. And I remember there was this van that would go around, and this lady would make food, burritos and tacos, at her house. It was the same thing. And she would go around, her and her daughter would come around in the minivan around 11 o'clock and would go up and down all the streets selling burritos and tacos until they sold out.
I have a friend
every day.
I have an Xbox friend, somebody I play online with, and he lives in a predominantly Latino, Hispanic neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I bet if I ask him, he'll probably tell me where the good spots are.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
it's
he
not
knows.
like dude. It's not like there's not good. I tell people that one of the best things you could probably do is start studying like food here in this culture area, because in my opinion, I think the new cities or like new areas are about to start popping. Well, what we need to do, I think, is take things from the cities that we've learned that are good and bring them back to the small towns. Not making big cities out of the small towns, but taking things like franchise, like In-N-Out. Just nationalize that thing. Just, you know how much money they would make?
When somebody eats an elote, a corn, for the first time, with all the fixings, it will change your life.
Or you just, when it's hot like it is right now, and you just want a raspado.
Yep.
Oh, and you just go get a fresh snow cone, dude. That's what I guess you would call it, but I call it raspado.
With some of that chamoy.
Ooh. Dude, you don't get that. That's one thing I will say you don't get is the food cultural experience.
It's a shocker.
It's sad when you leave. I mean,
shocker.
I don't know what it's like. I know the East Coast has a lot of like mom and pop stuff too, probably though. They probably have a lot. In my
opinion, there's a lot more mom and pop places on the East Coast.
Yeah, there's less franchise.
There's something about California and their laws that just make it really hard.
I think it's the regulations and taxes.
Places.
Well, we're seeing a lot of businesses are actually. I remember. I went to this. It was a call for a repair. We were just replacing like a simple like light switch plate on the wall. That's what he called for. I remember talking. Oh, he wanted a sensor taken down too and replaced with hardwired lights, and we did that too. I remember talking to him, and his job was he called businesses in other states to get them to come to their city. That was his job for the city. And basically to start business contracts. and to open up areas for businesses to move to this state. And he was talking to me about it, and he's like, you'd be surprised at how many people are fleeing these big cities. And he said, you want to know what the biggest reason is? The taxes and the regulations in the states. They are killing people to death with these taxes on these businesses. And he said, and they're just leaving for insane, like just leaving the state and going somewhere, even if it's like an unknown area. He's like, I guarantee you'll profit. Guaranteed.
Yeah. You know what? I want to. I really do.
Yeah. I'd say that's
I wouldn't be surprised if I died in this state, though. So
I think it takes a push. I think you have to want it. I definitely seen the other side. I know the grass is always greener on the other side. Trust me, I get it. It's going to come with its own problems. But one of the things
if I leave, I got to do something. I have to bring something from here. I got to bring something out there. I wouldn't mind starting a Corn Man franchise out there.
Yeah.
I would not mind.
Dude, I think it would work out amazingly. I mean, what if you started a truck?
Yeah.
Primo Monte. Look into it. I know there's a lotte guy. I think he made a business down here. They do it a lotte. It's like a walk-in like little place. They use like hot Cheeto dust.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Like
Northgate does that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at Northgate, and they do that.
Dude, I'm sorry. If
You've
you've never had an elote, if you've never had an elote, let me describe it. It is a corn on the cob, and you can't knock it till you try it. It's corn on the cob with, I think, butter and some mayonnaise with some of that Mexican crumbled cheese and some little more squirts of butter with some chili. Chili powder.
It's the right kind of chili.
Ooh, yeah. It's got to be the right.
You got to get that powder stuff.
Yep. You got to be the right powder chili.
And then you guy always has that squirt bottle of lemon juice.
Oh, dude, that's when you get the
squirt.
chicharrones.
Oh, my
with the
God.
wheels and the chili. Oh, dude.
It's
that's
amazing.
like...
For those listening, if you've never had it,
you go get it.
Like I said, it will change your life.
Yeah, elote
forever.
in a cup. That's it. That's what I would recommend. If you're not a messy person, elote in a cup is probably the easiest. It's just all that
Even
goodness
that way.
conveniently in a
it's
cup with
really
a spoon
good.
is so good. It is delicious. So that's definitely one thing that I'd say about Los Angeles that makes me sad. It is definitely a very depressing thing. Living out there for the first couple years when I moved was very depressing. I didn't have my family, I didn't have my friends, and I didn't have my favorite, comfort food places to go eat. So it was very weird getting used to a lot of McDonald's, or there was this Mexican place I used to go to called Blue Agave. It was a tequila bar, and like I said, you pay a premium for ethnic food, and I would buy a burrito for $14.
I think probably maybe even opening a pan dulce store there.
Dude, if people can open places like Sprinkles, a cupcake store.
No.
If people can do that, I'm saying if they can. No. I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying if people can do that and be successful, you go to places where pan dulce is not a commodity, or is a commodity. I mean. You make
some
premium pan dulce, some premium pan dulce, and you open up like a coffee barista inside, and I mean, you'll make a killing. I'd say it's a definite. People don't think about the business ventures outside, and if people need some ideas to leave California, and you're into the food business, there's a free idea for you. There's free markets out there outside of this state that will gladly pay a cheaper price, but a small premium on ethnic food.
It is astonishing that by now places like that are not at least a little bit prominent outside of California.
And I would say I think one of the biggest things that make me not want to be here anymore is, I think, the safety. I think things are getting a lot more crazier as time goes on. Especially me. I lived here for a long time, and I think things are just getting more violent. And it's not something I want to be caught up in. I know it's a segue to a really dark subject. Sorry, everybody. Whoops. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I want is safety for my family. You're willing to sacrifice things that you care about for not even convenience, for safety. You know, some people are willing to sacrifice that safety for convenience, and it's a really weird how people mix up those priorities. I think once you have kids and you're married and you have something to lose, you start thinking about those other things. You know, what is I don't know. One of the things I hate about California is Hollywood.
They've perverted so much.
I think there's been a lot of things in the last couple of years that have come out of Hollywood that I think should warrant a lot of citizens to not support it anymore. From the clear wanting
assault.
the clear sexualization of a lot of things to the clear bias in caring about a audience that's not a part of our country. You know, I would say China. You know, rather than what we think about movies. And then on top of that, trying to censor everything. It's just it's like a propaganda machine, and it's not something I want my kids to be a part of that culture. I think I won't miss Hollywood, and I hope that the pandemic has really halted a lot of its growth, because I think the movie industry has taken a really big hit in revenue, and I hope it has, because I want it to be something that I'm not going to miss. I mean, look at the movies that come out now. They're all just remakes of everything.
Yep.
It's just literally like being made to just continually get us to spend money on these things. And I think it's time people start standing up for it. No, it's time for better media. It's time for better consumption of things that we care about instead of just consuming whatever they tell us to. I think that's a really important precedent. I think those are the biggest factors of Los Angeles. This has kind of just been a rant about, I guess, my past, I guess Los Angeles, I guess a little bit about you. I wish I knew. I'm sorry you didn't talk more. I'm sorry about that. I know we're running short on time now, and we're coming to the end here. But you know, I really like hearing insight from other people, especially people who have lived in the city their whole life, and maybe just some closing thoughts on what you think about Los Angeles from the time that you've grown up here to what you see now. I mean, just as a warrant, as maybe some people who need to hear, or even for me, what can you tell me about what you think about it in closing?
About leaving California?
About just those changes that you've seen and what you think the solution is at this point.
Tell you what, when you leave California for a while and you come back, you gain weight because you miss all the food.
Oh yeah, I put on my first. I've been back for a couple months now. I put on 14 pounds. I lost it already. But I was not happy about that. But what else? What do you think?
Theme parks. And I know, you know what people say, they're too expensive. The Disneyland's too expensive. Even in some ways, Knott's Berry Farm may have gotten a little bit more expensive. But whether you like the prices or you dislike the prices, it's nostalgic. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
when you've been growing up here your whole life and you still remember that one of the only parades going around Disneyland was Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then now you see all the new stuff. You know, it's like, you kids don't know anything.
It's so funny. You go around. I love going to Disneyland. I don't need a lot. I don't need a map. I do not need a map to get around. I know where everything's at in that park.
There's something special about walking around Disneyland with a churro in your hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And not having...
Or a corn dog.
You know, it's nice being the person who's, like, leading everybody. You know, not being... I hate, like, when you go to a new place
That's what I don't like about the corporation, you know? Is they don't seek out the Disney family for advice anymore.
No.
They don't. And it's disrespectful.
It goes back to what I said about Hollywood. It's the catering to another audience now. We are no longer the main consumer of the product that they wish to sell. They want other people to be the consumer because there's more of a possibility. There's more people to consume their product, and there's more money to be consumed in other parts of the world. And I think that's the problem. They don't have the best interest in heart. I mean, say what you want. I love Disneyland, being a native person from Los Angeles and California and growing up here. But I think some people are a little too hooked on it. I think you have to realize that you're just continually giving money to a system that is not giving anything back to you.
Originality. That's the problem.
You get memories, but it's not worth the memories. You have to start wondering what memories are worth what. I love Disneyland. But it's not enough to make me stay in Los Angeles. Not at all. In fact, it's probably one of the things that made me go, this is why I want to leave. Because what does it cost now to go to Disneyland? For a park hopper, it costs what, $150 probably? You know, I remember my first park hopper I bought cash. Cost $70. $70.
Wow. Feels like forever ago. And really, it wasn't.
I remember when the premium pass, the 365 one, was $300. That thing's over $1,200 now. You want to talk about a premium? There's your premium. That's why I don't want to live in California, too. Everything's just getting more expensive.
Even if they bumped it to 500, I would still understand. It's still Disneyland. But 1,000? Almost 2,000?
Yeah. They offer a pass that allows you to go in every park in Disney in America. I think it's West and East Coast. But why the heck would you want to buy that? That is some craziness. I guess if you bought that and you planned on going to Florida, I guess it works out.
I guess it does, yeah, if you got that kind of money.
I ain't got that kind of money. You know what kind of money I got? The kind of money I want to use is I don't want to buy a house right next to my neighbors. I want to go buy somewhere that has 40 acres and my nearest neighbor is a mile away. Well, that's all I got to say about that, Andrew. Thank you for coming on
one
today.
Thing, man.
Uh-huh.
Well, wherever you go, don't ever forget you're from East LA.
Oh, no. I take that with me.
Don't ever forget where you come from.
I take that with me, and I don't forget where I'm from. And I take that culture with me. And I take that timidness. My doors will be locked to my house, because that's what we do here. It's funny, though. You take the... You know what's... It's funny. You out here, people walk up and down the street all day, all night. You go out and live in the middle of the country. Somebody's on your property at 3 in the morning. You know that person ain't invited out there. You know that person ain't supposed to be out there. That's one of the things I want. I know nobody's going to be coming. No, there's not going to be random people walking around. If somebody comes out to where I live, they most likely either have intent to see me for something or meant to harm me or my family. And that's easily distinguishable outside of being in the city. In the city, it's hard to distinguish that.
I'll be sure to call you before I go.
You 20 minutes before. 20 minutes before you. Don't just show up. Andrew, thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. It was fun.
This is CableTime Podcast, Episode 2. If you guys liked what you heard, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you have any ideas for future episodes, let me know. And if there's anything you want me and Andrew to cover, if there's anything Andrew didn't cover that you may have questions for, please leave them in the comments, and maybe I'll build up a list of things that you could ask us, and we'll come back and have a segment where we can answer some of your questions. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you have an awesome day. Peace out. Stay safe out there.